We're at the Mills Gallery for a show called Heaven is a Place on Earth. I'm Kyle Legal. I helped put this show together with Anna Cruz and Adam Levine. Adam Levine we're talking to right now. So, last night, I think we had a pretty good time.
Yeah, it was a good turnout.
Yeah. Good band, good music.
Yeah.
Now, I've known you and Anna for quite some time. I've seen your work really progress around the corner, some of the older work, and on the main walls is the newer work, which is almost two different shows.
Yeah. There's it's like a mix of new and old. It's about half and half, but yeah, we tried to keep the sort of newer work towards the front of the show, but yeah, larger work too. The newer work is a bit bigger. Yeah.
A bit bigger and it's bolder in its execution. Like you guys have really hit an arrival point style-wise. And this is one of yours in the background.
Yeah.
4 years ago, you never worked like this.
No, well, 4 years ago, I was probably building like more normal shaped canvases, like a rectangle or a square. And then I started getting into polygons and just trying to move away from sort of normative, like rectilinear shapes for canvas. Just due to like kind of having to look at my own paintings for so long, and you start to resent their qualities, and that sort of like rectangle is one of those where you're just like, why do I have so many rectangles all over my house, you know? Because I can't sell paintings.
Maybe make them different shapes, yeah.
Yeah, but the shape, the geometry, playing with the geometry was something that I was kind of fascinated with.
The other artists, like didn't like Ellsworth Kelly and like Mark Rothko kind of touched on that. Bridget Riley, I think, does stuff like that.
Ellsworth Kelly is like makes some really amazing shaped canvases. A lot of like curves and less like angular stuff. But what's his name? Frank Stella.
Yeah, Frank Stella.
Yeah, does a lot of like interesting shaped canvases too. One of my favorite painters who works with shaped canvas would be like Elizabeth Murray. Who's just like does all these like really wild improvised shapes, and they're all kind of funny and colorful, and but also like very they're very deliberate and beautiful. Yeah, I love Elizabeth Murray's work.
Well, one of the things I like about this new work in the shape is it's really in tune with contemporary work, and you and I both can talk art pretty heavily. I don't know if people watching it, but like A.J. Fossick. You know, like
a critic.
No, he's a painter, but he builds stuff. And his thing is, he's outside of the making just a canvas.
He's like a contemporary guy.
Contemporary guy, A.J. Fossick.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know
and he builds these great shapes, kind of these creatures and stuff.
Yeah,
or
the tigers and stuff?
Yeah,
is that guy?
Tiger faces. Ray Caesar, some of his stuff is like built upon and layered and whatnot. You know,
I've seen his digital stuff.
Which looks like they're
really
like they're photographs almost. Yeah. But this is, I think, both of y'all's work has really arrived at a point where it's like it's on point and on cue with what's happening in the contemporary art world as a whole, not just Central Florida, in my opinion.
That's great. I mean, that's a high compliment. Thank you.
Well, I mean it. I wouldn't have want to get together a show with you guys if I didn't think the same. But like this, the star shape, the little spray paint here, the spider, this little cartoon guy with a pen and the horns. It reminds me of a comic strip named Henry from many years ago. It's a long time ago, but it's just so all put together. Like, man, what made you come up with this? You know, and that's what I think is great about art when you say that. Like, what made you do that?
Yeah. I mean, definitely reading comics. As far as the figure is concerned, like that's where I'm drawing a lot of inspiration for like just like the bodies and stuff like that. You know, like I'm not quite sure where this guy came from exactly, but he kind of reminds me of Tintin a little bit with the nose.
It's amazing how comics have gone. I remember when I was a kid in art classes, it was like the worst thing you could do would be like be inspired by comics. That's not art. Well, okay, sure.
Well, those are artists making livings. They're in newspapers.
And I always thought for years that comic strip art was some of the most beautifully abstract stuff you could see, like Blondie. The way Blondie's light, like Dagwood's hair or Dennis the Menace, they're really bizarre looking, but they look beautiful. They off registered colors and stuff. But off camera we were talking about, I'm going to loop this back around. You said you don't really know where this character came from or where this painting came from. We're talking about like a kind of the improv nature of art. And when you, as an artist, when you see something and visualize it in your head and it comes out just the way you wanted it, that's a really sweet spot to be in. A lot of these,
absolutely.
Improvising a lot of times, going with your gut feeling.
For sure, yeah. For these paintings, I built these 2 pentagons, and then I mocked up some small pentagons in Illustrator and printed those out. And I made like 10 or so drawings of what I wanted the paintings to look like. And some of them look nothing like this, but that was pretty key to kind of like the planning stage for these paintings, where I was working on a pentagon that was like this big. And I went to school for drawing, and so like that, like it's much easier for me to improvise with like pencils and colored pencil and ink and stuff like that on paper. And so that was, I mean, doing that was like implemental in sort of keeping the painting simple and clean and like deliberate, and yeah, kind of executing on the idea. But yeah, I should have included those little drawings in the show. That would have been cool. I didn't even think about that.
Well, it'll be up for a while. Maybe
maybe we can. Yeah, maybe
bring him in. Yeah. It is amazing how drawing is so immediate.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of my favorite pastimes. One of my passions is illustration. Just getting out there and riffing. It's like doodling on a guitar, kind of, or a piano. It's just, you know, to let ideas flow out of you.
I don't play instruments, but I imagine it's similar. Yeah.
This new stuff, again, like you and Anna really have come out a whole new look for both of you, whole new style. So what's the experiences that you guys have gone through to help to inform this new work or cause these stylistic changes?
Well, I think we've always kind of made work in this style in some way. I think we're just getting older and growing as artists. Maybe is like, I looked at the paintings I made a couple years ago, in like comparing them to these, and these are much cleaner, and they look much more finished, I guess I would say. And I think that just comes with experience, but also maybe we're drawing influence from newer things. I'm really not sure, but I can't speak to like the line work. The like black line stuff really comes from being illustrators and sort of like you know, loving cartooning and comics. And when I make drawings, if it's in graphite and I want it to look a little more clean, you just like trace it with pen, and then and it's just like you blackline things. And so like that's why there's like a lot of blacklining in all of the work. It's just like it just seems like the most logical way to like represent something figurally, where like some painters may want to sort of like flesh it out with color and like maybe do like modeling with color and stuff like that. But I'm much more interested in like the collision of line and color, like when they don't like for instance here, where like the gradient kind of comes through the figure, and then the colored lines like intersect the figure, and it's not really, there's something being said about color that has nothing to do with the figure at all, and like that's really fascinating to me.
Did you spray paint on this?
That's a spray gun. Like I have an air compressor, so I use like a paint sprayer.
Nice.
And then I have an airbrush too. Yeah.
Well, you know, as much as I think that trying to explain the work, I like it. Sometimes you say like, I don't really know how it changed. And I think sometimes that's best.
Yeah.
It just comes natural, and that's what you get. You know, it's like your little piece of your inner mind's eye.
Yeah, I wish I knew.
Yeah. Hey, well, that's what you're not supposed to. Just enjoy the smell of the roses. Don't ask where the rose came from. Anyway, Adam, it's been a real pleasure to work with you and do this show with you and Anna. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bob.